Yeah, Film Vault. This is Film Vault. I am Anderson. That is not Bryan. Let me pull down the music, Avery, before you talk. Unmute yourself over there, Avery.
Yeah. This is
there you are.
Tanner Baldman.
Take 3. And we come to you live on tape. I from the Cold Cockle Studios, After Disaster Studios, Clever Kind Studios, whatever you want to call them, the Addie and Andy Studios. Do all sorts of stuff out here. And Avery, you're in your apartment.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right in front of the bar cart.
Oh, dude, crack them. So yes,
it's tempting on take 3.
We were planning on having Avery on for this. So like full picture, big picture here. All the years of the Film Vault's been going, I don't think we've had as compressed a schedule as we do the next 3 days. Like we have insane 3 days of recording because I'm going to be leaving town, and then Bryan's going to be leaving town shortly after I get back. And we got the live movie watch along and the Patreon episode. We got all these things that we're going to be recording, and we still are, at least I am, in some respect, over the next 3 days. Very compressed. And that said, the most busy the Film Vault's ever been these three days, and it's the sickest Bryan has been as far as colds go. As sickest, worst I've seen him since his last round of that horrible medication he was on.
Oh, worse than COVID, right?
Worse than COVID. I mean, COVID, he seemed semi-normal, but I mean, I've seen Bryan very, very sick, and this is like top 5. Hey, like that top 5 sickest I've ever seen Bryan. In fact, Christy, his wife,
top 5 sick Baldman.
She sent me a text saying, "Thank you for not making Bryan do the show. He was very, very ill.
Thank you for not killing my husband."
Yes. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, even so, he was having some technical issues. I actually bought stuff via Steve Bezos and had it sent directly to his house.
Steve Bezos.
Could all work, and it wasn't working, and that's for the best. I would have at least had him on for 10 minutes to say hello, but he's very, very ill. So I told him to go sleep, and I think he will be doing that now. There's no way he could have done 2 hours. Later this week, we'll be doing the top 5 guide to the gift lovers in your life Black Friday episode, and I will be doing that with Logan, who is already booked as a guest. So it'll be just he and I, but Logan is he's the main course over there for that episode because he's going to be bringing us some cool tech gifts and whatnot. So all that said, Avery, thank you very much for coming on. I was already planning on having you on.
Happy to be here
today, just briefly, at the very least, to talk Wakanda, because you're a movie lover.
I think pre-sickness, Bryan already had dropped the ball on Wakanda, right?
Yeah, I mean, he got sick yesterday, and he said he couldn't watch Wakanda. So unless he was planning on seeing a matinee this morning, I think he was. I don't know. Fairness to Bryan, I think it's because he was sick, to be honest.
I think he heard Andy Serkis wasn't in it.
He was not. He was sorely missed by me. So, what else? I got stuff. I got news, and I'm going to be in my head because I got a little bit of a lashing from a listener who's like, "Yeah, you know what? You talked a little bit too much about everything they got going on." It's like, all right. I'd like to thank Eric on TikTok, and he's going to become part of the weekly thanks because Eric is doing some amazing things for the Film Vault on TikTok, where he's paring down our video reviews of movies, and he's putting in. I watched a few of them, and they're very entertaining, and he's putting in a ton of work. He's putting actual video representation of scenes that we're talking about as we talk about them. Everything's got the subtitles so you can watch it work without sound, and it looks he's doing remarkable work. Not only is Eric doing work on TikTok, but he's also repurposing them for shorts for YouTube as well as Instagram stories. So Film Vault bite size out there for discoverable purposes on the socials. So thank you very much, Eric, for all your hard work. Really appreciate that. Also, another announcement here. This is a very exciting one. Avery, Dinner in America, a movie that you have not seen yet.
Have not seen.
No one has excuses anymore because it's available on Hulu. So I'm very excited about
at last
them apples. All right, so we are going to do a little different this week, obviously without Bryan. It's been a long time since I've done a Film Vault without Bryan. I did a few with Tyler and Mike Carano and Bryan Chandler, Miss Movies, but never just with Avery. This is exciting, Ave.
I hope I can get added to the shit list, Bryan's replacement shit list.
Yeah, I mean, he might bring this up like 3 or 4 years from now, and get someone in an argument. You did the show with Avery while I was on my deathbed.
I cannot wait. That's the only reason I'm doing this, not to help you, but to get on the shit list.
Honestly, though, I am a little bit. I don't want to say worried, but he just looked very, very sick. So I'm glad that he is not going to be a part of this. Plus, because what was he going to bring to the fucking table? He hasn't seen he hasn't seen Black Panther.
Yeah.
He finally saw Weird, which you still haven't seen. It's very upsetting. We're gonna do a little TV vault for you fellas too.
Yes.
Ladies, a little TV vault for everybody. So what else? My wife will kill me if I don't say this before. If you want to get something from Addie's Antiques before Christmas, just go check out the store. Send me a direct email, and we will put it aside because we have to shut the store down temporarily where we're out of town. But like I said, we will get it.
Santa's closing the workshop.
Yeah. All the elves are going to actually the North Pole.
Yeah, ironically, where they won't be working.
We will not. Actually, you know what? I'm terrified. Knock on wood. I'm getting sick because it's not like I'm going to be laying on a beach, drinking for 2 weeks. It's one of those active vacations where I'm going to be driving around the perimeter of Iceland. The entire every day is like a 3-4 hour road trip. I can't be sick.
No, you'll be good. They're a healthy people out there. They got the strong Viking genes. So.
Dude, I was at a super spreader event, I think, over the weekend with it was a walk for Down syndrome, and a lot of hugging, a lot of high-fiving, and I was getting nervous. Atticus was all, people were all up in Atticus's biz out there, and I'm like, I love you guys, but I don't want to get sick. I'm about to leave town. Super spreader event. That's what it felt like.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
All right, so where do we go from here? And thank you very much to everyone who has got this is a big announcement. I almost forgot, Avery. This is to keep the coal going and keep the engines going, and it comes at a great time for me to come up with this idea. But I have filled the 5 slots. That happened almost instantaneously as far as people who want me to watch a movie of their choice, and then I do a 30-minute chat with you about said movie, or we can just do an email chain back and forth if you're one of those people that hates the phone. But any movie you would like me to see, I will watch at my house and take the notes and go over it with you. And those 5 slots that I had for till the end of the year, they went quickly. Here's what I'm going to do though, because I'm going to up the price in the new year. I'm going to have I'm going to continue to do it next year because this is going to help me stay at home and allow me to work on this next film and funding this next film that I'm getting. We're doing weekly producer meetings now for my next project. I don't even know if you know that, Avery, but it's happening. Like the ball's rolling.
And you've got a movie to make.
I got a movie to make, and I got bills to pay. So I got to come up with creative ways where I can stay home and work in the middle of the night on and bringing money in. So thank you very much to all the generous people who have come in for that so far. Here's what I'm going to do. Price is going to go up next year, probably like, I don't know, a couple $100 just because I can only do so many. But anyone who gets one now in between now and the end of the year, you can use it whenever you like. You can assign me a movie whenever you like for the $150, $150, and I will watch any movie you like within reason, and then we will discuss it however you like, whether that's Zoom, maybe restream, maybe just on the phone, maybe just via text or emails, whatever you like, whatever you're comfortable with. But
a la carte, whatever you like.
What it is a lot of people like movies, or they think they like a movie, they're not sure, and they've seen it so many times, they're kind of like in the weeds or in the forest, they can't see the trees, so they that's kind of what I've noticed the pattern being for this. And I watch movies for a living or a partial living. So
yeah, you want to know if the girl's cool before you settle down. Like,
exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. 150, which I still it feels weird, but I gotta get less weird about that with a child and a mortgage and stuff. So there it is. That's my service that I have to offer at the moment. And if you get it before the end of the year, you can use that anytime. But then the price will be going up in the new year. All right. What do you want to talk about, Avery? Where do you want to start?
So we got Wakanda, we got TV Vault, and then we have the listener assigned film as well. So
right.
We should start with the fanfliction.
Oh, can you help me out with that? Thank you.
I can help you out. Compiled by the Mitch Burns every week, otherwise known as the Bitch Merns. He's got our Black Panther Wakanda Forever FVT score, which is sitting at 90%. We've got Ismail. We'll go with Ishmael. It's more fun. Ishmael Lewis on Facebook and Twitter. And Mitch says, shout out to Ishmael. He posts every single week in this exact format on Twitter and Facebook. I look forward to what he has seen every week. So he's got a quick round for us, some rapid fire. Last Seen Alive, not dope, on Netflix. Lou, dope, on Netflix. Elysium, dope, on Netflix. Father Stew, not dope, on Netflix.
Oh no, Tam Smith, you got us watching that one here soon by the end of the year,
Wow.
probably. Assuming Bryan can do a show with me again by the end of the year. But
So
yeah,
we'll
Tam
see.
Smith is assigned as Father Stew.
So
I'm
it's the
curious.
jury's out on the dope, not dope for Father's Stew. Go Brox on Reddit. The Banshees of Inisherin reminded me of Frank in the sense that it started with an absurd comedic premise and then became a sad, touching tale. I preferred Frank, but Banshees was excellent.
You know, there are some similarities, and part of that is possibly because you got the dad of Donald Gleason in the role over there in the Banshees. So
Some of the
that's a
literal
bloodline.
DNA.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. Miller Boy on Reddit. We took the kids to see Wakanda Forever. Great story, solid pace for a longer movie. It delivered exactly what it promised. No interest in watching it twice.
Agree with that. I'm wondering how old those kids are, because I was thinking throughout this movie, like, if you got youngins in here, they're probably bored stiff.
Yeah, it was definitely, let's gear safe. Ryan Smith on Facebook. All Quiet on the Western Front. Best Netflix movie ever. Top tier war film. Brutal, amazing. Yeah, I'm surprised you and the bald one haven't seen that yet. And I also just haven't heard a lot of movie friends talking about it.
So it
Which
kind
is
of
honestly why I've kind of skipped it.
Netflix
thus
is having a
far.
harder time getting the word out. And you know, I do my research for cinematics, where I see all the big movies that are, you know, all movies, like all independent movies that are getting theatrical releases. And it's really hard a lot of the time to find the movies that are going straight to the old platforms, because they just don't get as much. I mean,
Do you think it's because Netflix has kind of watered down the straight to Netflix brand? Because it seemed like there was a time where they could kind of transcend that with the Romas of the world and
well, they're
even
still
the bird
trying.
boxes that would break through. But
From what I hear, this is like the type of movie that'll be up for Best Picture, and we will be covering it. In fact, I plan on seeing it and talking about it before I leave. So, in the next week or two, it'll be covered on this. But then Bryan probably won't be able to. Is this the death of the film vault? Is this where it ends?
it might be the death of the bald one at this point.
Oh Jesus!
But what's weird, I mean, you know, I'm Billboard man. I haven't even seen billboards for it. I feel
Yeah,
like normally they.
I think Netflix
What's
is
the
hurting,
deal?
and they're probably drawing back with the marketing. I bet they're waiting for the Oscars, and then they'll go hard with the. Have you seen? You know what I mean? Because they don't have to do a
Yeah.
full push. Netflix is different than
Yeah,
theaters.
because box office doesn't matter. They're not going for that. And they're not trying to recoup like that.
Yeah, and they don't ever boast about numbers, which would be another incentivizer for them to, like, you know, get as many people watching it the first weekend. They don't
Yeah,
tell
that's
you.
true.
You have no idea how many people are watching these movies. So it'll be there when the accolades are being bestowed upon it, and then they can boast with billboards. So I'm betting you're going to see billboards like in December for it, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it's just so odd. Like, I don't know a single person who's seen it, who's recommended it to
I've been
me.
getting emails, and people are
Nothing.
loving it, and people are saying you got to see this. I've been getting texts from friends. Yeah, I've been hearing
Interesting.
about it. Yeah.
Because I loved 1917. I was a huge fan of that. And I've been hearing parallels to that, and then it's even more violent and bloody. So
Yeah, I'm hearing. I just don't like titles that have already been used before. You understand?
and it's they changed a lot, right? It's not directly following
It
the
better
book
not be,
from what I heard.
like the first movie I saw was kind of a bore.
Oh boy. Curtis
Yeah.
Hilms on Twitter, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. The overarching themes don't quite all click together, but all the constituent parts still make a really good movie. They had
Agreed.
to take quite a journey to get there, but I liked what they put together. And
Hmm.
that is the fanfiction.
All right, you want to get right into Wakanda?
Yeah, let's do it.
Wakanda Forever. All right, so I saw this in theaters, obviously, and however, I did find
Did you get the
site.
premium format? Did you do
I
the
don't-
AMC with the
I mean,
reclining seats and the Dolby Atmos?
they're all like that, except the Prime is a little bit different, but they don't have the seat warmer, the Prime. So I mean, you know, all the theaters are just glorious at this point, right?
It's really kind of the golden age for really seeing stuff either at home with how good TVs are or in the theater.
It's the golden age for entertainment thus far, right? I mean, who
Yeah,
knows what's next? But
it's the
it's
best
hard
time
not
in
to be
history to sit on your ass.
very comfortable while watching, you know, whatever it
Yeah.
is you choose to watch. So, all right, Wakanda Forever. Do you want to do the setup here? I was good. I was planning on just letting Bri do that, but he's not here to do that. So I guess
I can pull it up.
do
Yeah,
that.
if you wanna, do you want to do it? Do you want me to do
Yeah,
it?
sure, I'll do the. I'll do it. So Ryan Coogler returns to direct Black Panther. It is starring. Oh Jesus Christ! Letitia Wright, Lupita. Lupita
Do you want me to take this?
Could you take it for me?
names too black? We got Letitia Wright,
She's black. Is that what you said?
Lupita Nyong'o, Watch me now just totally ruin this. Denai Guerrera, Winston Duke, Angela Bassett, Tenoch Huerta. That's a great name. Martin Freeman, obviously, and Dominique Thorne, and a million other strong black people rounding out the cast.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Yes, this is the earliest I've ever seen a remake hit theaters because I think Woman King came out just like what a couple months ago, right? And here we already
Yeah.
have a remake, in the Marvel universe, which was kind of impressive that they could get the ball off the ground and delivered. Pre-production takes a long time usually with something like this, but I'm joking, of course. But there's so many similarities with these two movies. Surprisingly, there's no okay. Bad News Bears, the original Bad News Bears,
Yes.
and perhaps the remake. There's about as much Black Panther in that as there is in this one. You know what I mean?
Where you think the DNA is totally different in this one.
Well, there's just very, very little Black Panther. It's a 2 hour and 40 some odd movie.
That is true.
And I'm like, is Black Panther? The movie's about how Black Panther is not around anymore. That's pretty much what we hear quite a bit. There's next to no Black Panther,
and for a long time because I never watch any trailers, so I had no idea what to expect going in. But I expected it to be a little sooner to get to Black Panther, and it really, for a while, almost seemed like that was not going to happen at all.
If you're going because you love the suit and you love what Black Panther does, be prepared. I mean, you can show up maybe 2 hours late. I'm not even joking. I think like 2 hours in and we still have not seen any Black Panther, which takes a lot of balls. And it makes sense because, he died. So we're not going to see a Black Panther unless you replace him. And I think it's out of respect.
However,
However,
they did do a weird thing where it was kind of like a sequel mixed with an origin story. So they had a lot of lifting to do to get it where it needed to go.
a new origin story, right?
Yeah, it was like origin story for this new character. It was kind of odd. I'm not sure if I've seen that before, where it was kind of a sequel, kind of an origin story.
Yeah, I guess but without doing a spoiler episode on this, I don't know. It might have been a lot for not. All right, we're speaking of riddles here. So I was not aware, much like you, I don't watch trailers, and I've been they did a really good job at concealing, I guess, the antagonist, if you can even call it that, in this movie, because I had no idea that this was going to turn into James Cameron's nightmare, which it kind of was. I think
This is there's no way that Avatar can compete with this. If this was Avatar, I would give a shit about Avatar.
I think I'm completely on the same page, Avery. I would absolutely be much more interested in those floating beans and whatnot if they had the sensibilities that these fellas had. I didn't know so much of it took place at sea. I didn't know that there was even blue dudes. I might have seen a flash of the guy with the wings on his feet, but I'm going to assume that most of the people listening have seen the movie, so I'm not going to go to great lengths of explaining. How do you even explain the storyline? It's like,
well, it took 2 hours and 40 minutes for the movie to do it. So
very convoluted. There's a lot of upset with the United States, it's particular folks in the United States who are more warmongers, and there's a lot of talk about people of color and how they've been wronged historically. And as a result, there's not really a clear antagonist until well into the third act, right? I mean,
yeah, you could see where it was headed for sure. You could imagine where it was going because where else is it going to go? But I thought it was very interesting how much world building was going to be involved. Because going into it, I really had no idea. I probably wrongly assumed, all right, they're going to find another Marvel villain that I haven't heard of, that Gio knows all about. They're going to pull this dude in. They're going to kick his ass. She's going to have to save Wakanda. Bada bing, bada boom. More rap music, Wakanda. Which, I was fine with that. I would have been in for that. But I did not expect the level of world building that they did. I think it was on par with the world building that they did, maybe even more so in the first Black Panther, where they really introduced you to a whole other thing that I was not expecting.
I agree. Yeah, I think that this is almost like Rorschach, where like the other world was right, like had to be as impressive and as there's so many parallels. How do we? All right, so essentially, vibranium isn't only in Wakanda. There might be some other large reserve of it under the ocean, and there is a lineage of humanoids who have been much like the Wakandans living off of it, but in secret. And then we get the entire origin of their story, and it's all based on essentially like Aztecs and ancient cultures from the
Yeah,
Yucatan,
Aztecs, Mayans, yeah.
and a lot of it's really really cool. However, for everything that was really cool on screen, there was like a cringe or two for me, as well as like, oh, okay, I've seen that before. And I
Yeah.
kept thinking this, and I don't know if it's fair, but I'm doing this thing now with Marvel movies where I'm just comparing them to RRR, and I just it's just not RRR. Like RRR is the best Marvel movie I've seen all year, and it's not a Marvel movie, but it's the giant action set pieces similar to R. It's like India's version of Marvel movies, and I feel things in RRR. I've seen it a few times now, and I didn't feel anything in this movie. Did you feel?
I don't think I felt much. There was a lot of I mean, at the we're not going to spoil anything, but the after credit scene, the reaction from the audience was so audible that it was insane.
Like they were stoked?
Yeah, it just the output. It was like it was happening to one of their family members. That was the level of.
Yeah, I think I might have
It,
heard Bryan, and I'm not kidding.
yeah, it was like everybody was witnessing an engagement. That's not what happens, but it was like a restaurant and you just saw somebody get engaged. That was the level of oh my god of what was happening in the audience.
Yeah, it's bizarre when
I don't know if I don't know if I felt a ton, but I also don't really expect that for Marvel. I really liked. I think the only thing I did feel, I didn't get any of the heartstrings pulled too much, but I did feel
they were pulling too. They were trying. That was annoying.
they were trying, and I do think it was working for some people. But I think for me, what I forgot that I experienced with Black Panther, I think watching this as a Black person, there is just an inherent level of joy in watching it and watching the culture be portrayed, and just in the first 20 minutes, watching Black people kick the shit out of white people.
And
That
that's
was
Black women,
very enjoyable.
right?
Yeah.
And
And that was great. And it was honestly one of the best ways I've seen it done with a primarily female cast. Because it occurred to me in the middle of the movie of I don't think I've heard a male character talk in 50 minutes.
yeah,
And I didn't care. And it wasn't being shoved down your throat either. It wasn't about. I think it does a really great job of passing the Bechdel test because they're not really talking about dudes at all. It's more, how do you relate? What's your goal? What are your dreams? What are we trying to do? And I thought the way they did it was very authentic in a way that you didn't even realize that there's really maybe one male character, two. And even then, they don't have a ton of screen time and kind of exist to service the female characters in some ways,
yeah. And
which I thought was interesting.
I really react poorly to things like that when they are forced. And obviously this is by design. It's not like they just stumbled across this or dusted off like an old comic from way back when. And well, maybe they did, but they did this because it's like this is the time of not only women but people of color and all of the things that have happened over the last few years, right? It makes absolute sense. Then when you try and wedge that in and it doesn't really work, that's where I get like, what the hell's it's a studio just trying to rake in money and go, virtue signaling with hundreds of millions of dollars essentially. But no, you're absolutely right. Like they pulled it off. These were engaging characters for the most part. These were people that I actually wanted to see kick ass, and I was never like, oh, that this is just good editing or good stunt work or good double work. Like I believe that those women were beating the shit out of the fishmen.
And I think that's why I like it more than a lot of other Marvel movies. It's very hand-to-hand and physical, where it's spears, it's fighting, it's clawing, people are bleeding.
If I hadn't seen RRR this year, like this would be much more impressive. Unfortunately, RRR kind of ruined me for so many of these types of crazy, big, over-the-top.
But it had that flavor. It does have the RRR flavor to it.
It does. That's why you can't help think about it. And this is a very un-Marvel movie in a lot of ways too. Like it didn't feel like I was long stretches where you're not seeing superheroes. You're just seeing like warriors and
I knew I liked it because I feel like there were times I should have gotten douche chills and I didn't. It just worked and I kind of let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way animals were used by the antagonist. I didn't mind it as much as I would have thought.
I didn't mind it. It was
okay with it.
the douche chills for me was part of the world building where they're showing the underworld water culture and just how peaceful and
Oh yeah,
I mean I was just like and all the and this and
yeah,
like the children playing the just the utopia that they were trying to illustrate for us, me, the audience member, to and I understand the point of it. I understand why you have to have it there. It's just when I see it just being laid out that forcefully, I guess it bugs. It bugs. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I'm like,
yeah.
ornery old man over here. So, I'm gonna pick some nits. But yeah, overall, Marvel continues to deliver really, really good blockbuster product, which
I think I think honestly, maybe the biggest detractor for me, I don't know if this is a reveal, is Martin Freeman, his boss.
okay. See,
Is
there's
that a
it's
reveal?
like
Is she in the
overload.
trailer?
At first, my first reaction, we can talk about it for those who have seen it, they know what we're talking about. But when I first saw her out in the field, I'm like, is this some kind of parody? Like, what's happening? Did I just it felt like SNL for because her character was just over the top, and I didn't recognize her as an actor. And then I realized who she was, and I'm like, wait, was she in the last one though? Because I have such overload with
She
Marvel.
wasn't. She
She
is
wasn't.
in something else. I don't know. My
They must
roommates
be
are
setting
both
her up for
still
something.
locked into Marvel, so she has been in something else and played the same character. I don't remember if this was one of the TV shows or if this was one of the movies. I'm guessing it was in one of the TV shows, but she plays the same character, and they kind of weren't really sure of her shtick either. She was, I think, the weakest part of the movie for me because I didn't really.
They didn't have her fleshed out. Yeah,
And she could have been funnier too. Why cast her if she's not going to be? It
it
just
was
seemed
kind
like
of like
odd casting to me. It seemed
I
like stunt casting.
I feel like they're setting her up for something more. If I'm wrong, then you're absolutely right. If I'm right, then
I
hopefully more
hope.
to come. Yeah,
I hope so. Because as is, I didn't really get the need for her to be in it as she was. Because if you're going to cast that person, make her funnier.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree. There wasn't a whole lot of yucks in this movie. I got some like basic questions too, like the big guy who was in the last one, the mountaintop guy, right?
Yeah,
They got the
he's just an
wood.
asshole. I love that
I
guy.
love that dude. Yeah. I mean, part of me, the chauvinistic part of me was like, I wish he was in more of this. I'd like more of him, He was in a lot
Yeah,
of
he
the
made
last one.
Black Panther 3.
But like why wear oak armor when you have vibranium? I don't quite understand the point of that. Am I missing
I don't
something?
know. It might be one of those things where maybe it's woven in there, or
You know that movie?
I
You know the movie Castaway?
yes.
There's almost as much Black Panther and Castaway as there is in this one. If you're taking like a young kid who like Atticus, he loves the idea of Black Panther. He'd be so fucking pissed if I took him to this. He'd be like, "Where is Black
Where's
Panther?
Black Panther?
Where is Black Panther?" But as a kid who grew up grew up in the '80s, like a lot of people love to talk shit about Marvel. I'm one of them. It's annoying, how many theaters they infect. You and I have talked about it. Like, oh, Marvel
Yeah.
movies. Like last night, it was a Monday, and there's no parking in my local theater. Monday night, it's good for theater revenue and whatnot, but it's upsetting and disappointing that the society I live amongst can only get out of bed for a superhero movie. That said, these movies are so much better than the blockbuster drivel that I grew up with. You know what I mean? These movies
Yeah.
are so much better than the '80s blockbusters. Even the Spielberg stuff, some of it. I know that's not sacrilege, but you look back on it, like we've come a long way, and Marvel doesn't have to be making this top quality type movies. So
I mean, they made me like blue people, and I fucking hate the blue people. I was subjected to the Avatar trailer, and
get it.
I don't understand. My whole thing watching that trailer is there's going to be 3 more of these fucking things. Are you kidding me?
I get it. The guy loves the ocean. James Cameron loves the ocean. I love the ocean. I absolutely understand that. He also loves the tropical part of the ocean with those aqua
But who
blues. He's
doesn't
like,
go
what
on
if I made their
vacation?
entire I'm afraid that I'm going to dislike it so much that I'm not going to want to go to the Bahamas because it's got the same color blue. You know what I mean? I'm
I
afraid it's
was
going to ruin me.
I was joking with my roommate that if it's bad enough, I might try to start the Twitter trend that to get it canceled because it's appropriate. It's a white man who becomes a black person, and they're appropriating Native American culture and get it canceled just so I don't have to watch 3 more of these fucking
You don't
movies.
have to do that. You can
Please
just search
don't.
for it because it's already
Yes.
happening. I'm sure it's
Oh,
already. I'm sure there's
please,
a few campaigns going after that.
because
Yes.
it's uh
Let's take a quick little break here, and what am I going to do about feels too, Avery? Can we do feels? You want to do a little feels read with me?
We can do some feels.
I don't know if you've ever tried the old feels.
I have tried the feels.
You know what? I'm gonna save myself the headache, and I'm just gonna mark it, and we're not gonna do the music and all that stuff. So yeah, let's talk feels. Feels is has been a sponsor for most of the year now, and they continue to be because you guys are obviously getting some feels. And for those of you who have been curious about CBD, this is the time to strike because they have a very good deal that goes along with being a listener of this show. As you know, Bryan takes it to feel better and just to get better sleep. I would imagine he's probably taking some right now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your feels experience over there, Avery?
Yeah, I've taken feels. I was doing the little under the tongue, the tincture, and to me, it felt like just the way I feel after you meditate, where you're just
That's a
relaxed.
great way. Yeah, that's a great
It's
way of saying
open,
it.
but then it just sustains. And if you're one of those people, you're like, I don't have the patience or time to sit down in a fucking chair and think about and try to empty my mind. All you got to do, you can take a mint and
It
get the
does feel
same
like
feeling.
It does feel like a shortcut. Popping them that mint feels like a shortcut, and you know, there's a lot of shortcuts in this world. This one is not bad for you. This is a shortcut that you can almost feel your body thanking you, especially if you're on edge like I am a lot of the time, and I really need a little help, and I don't have time to meditate or the wherewithal to meditate. That's a great example. They should work that in.
It feels like an actual free lunch
It
where it's
does.
just, wow, this is great.
So start feeling better with Feels. Become a member today by going to feels.com/TFV and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's Feels, FEALS.com/TFV to become a member and get 50% off automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/TFV. Christmas is coming up. Maybe it's something you get for your mom or something. You know, she's never tried something like this, and you could be like the cool kid helping your mom out with some new agey uh, herbs and whatnot. I know my mom would appreciate it. Maybe I should do that for my mom. All right. Feels. All right. Yeah, we're done with the feels. Avery,
Done with
what
the
do you want to
feels.
what do you want to
Well,
talk
we
about?
got two left. We got TV vaults, or we got a payoff listener assignment.
Yeah, so tricky, but I want to do a solid for obviously Rand. Rand's a friend of mine. I work with Rand now. Creative Deviance is his production company he's been working with for years and years, and he's recently partnered. We're partnering up on certain projects with Clever Kind. So Mike and I are. While I was down in San Diego, we're going to be in Columbus next month, doing some stuff with Creative Deviance.
Risking life and limb doing pyrotechnics.
I know. Yes, I almost died on the set in San Diego, as I'm told. I didn't feel like I was almost dying, but apparently I could have died. Quite
Yeah, you
easily.
guys are doing practical effects.
I plugged in I guess it was a bad extension cord, and like probably, I'm not exaggerating, I think it was probably a 2 or 3 foot flame came shooting out of it, and I had to disconnect it and take it outside. I think a lesser man, Avery, would have dropped it right there on the carpet. I'm such a people pleaser, and I always feel like I'm intruding people's personal spaces. I think if that happened on the third day where they were there for 3 full days in this very nice corporate office downtown San Diego, I think if it happened like the third day when I was comfortable, I might have just dropped it and saved myself. But I was so in my head, like, we just got here, we're running all these cables everywhere and setting up lights, and you know, we don't know these people, and I didn't even realize it wasn't their office either. They had flown in to use the space. But when I saw the giant flame and the sound shooting out of this extension cord, I was like, I gotta save this property and this people's place at all cost. So
Where
that's
you feel like you have to apologize because you
yes.
almost died.
I was afraid that I was going to be in trouble. Like, I thought they're going to come in and go, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" But everyone's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. Now I can fuck up all day long because I almost died." So
Does any part of you feel like you may be now living your own version of Final Destination?
you know, I have excuses I think built in at least for the rest of the year. Like if I fuck up on something, it's like, hey, you know, we don't know the after effects of what happened to me. Did you see the picture of the 3-prong?
No. Did you guys post that on Patreon? I don't think you
I
guys
don't know.
posted it.
Yeah, we should post it because I mean, you know how like the plugs, right? They got the
Yeah,
three
Tyler posted his fucking kid skateboarding, but no near death experience.
Let's see if I can. I don't want to look for that. Who knows where it is, but yeah, the 3-prong that you had there on the plugs, it was melted away, completely melted. Two of the 3 prongs are all melted. I don't even have it. I should have it. I'm bitching about Tyler not posting it. All right. Anyways, so Rand assigned us a while ago. I first met Rand. He was a listener who showed up on the set of Cult of Corona when I was looking for crew and people that wanted to volunteer as extras. And Rand was on set. And Rand's got quite the history with making movies and videos. And here he is with one of his favorite movies of all time called Enduring Love. Enduring Love is the name of the film that he assigned us. We will give us a better or a more fleshed out talk. I just want to give people a quick heads up that it's out there because it's a very, very interesting movie, directed by Roger Mitchell, and it stars Daniel Craig, Samantha Morton, who I absolutely love, and Reese Ifans.
Did you say when it came out?
He plays Lizard Man in the Spider-Man movie, in case you're wondering who this Reese fella is. It came out in 2004. Roger Mitchell, the director, he died last year, which is sad. Joe Penhall did the screenplay. It's adapted from a novel by Ian McEwan. And here's the movie. It's kind of easy to explain, at least the first half. Daniel Craig is with his girlfriend at the time, Samantha Morton, and they're in a park in England. And it's a big, nice, beautiful, picturesque field, and they're setting up for a little picnic like Europeans like to do. And he brings out the wine, and over their shoulder, a large red hot air balloon comes cruising by at very low altitude, like 2-3 feet off the ground. And there's a man chasing it. And you realize that there's a boy inside. And now there's men, and now it's just like havoc. Like it goes from like really nice, picturesque picnic to just absolute havoc as like 3 to 5 men are chasing this thing down, trying to secure it so that this boy doesn't pull it up and just fly off into the distance. And all 5 men are holding it. They get it down at one point, and then a gust of wind comes and a tragedy occurs. I'll leave it at that because it's a great scene. It's one of the best opening scenes and sighting incidents you're going to see in a movie. And the movie takes off from there. And it's about letting go, ultimately. It's about Daniel Craig, who is an author, trying to let go of what he could have done, what he didn't do. He let go. He's married. He's Samantha Morton. She's a sculptor, so everything she does is like tangible, and he's an author, so he's having an existential crisis throughout the movie. Like everything I've done is theory. I've never actually done anything you can hold in your hands. And he's got rope burns. I mean, there's a lot of intention with this movie, and I would like to talk more about it with somebody who's seen it. But I can tell you, I had a riveting conversation with my buddy Rand about it after I watched it. So I recommend this movie. I think you can rent it for fairly cheap. Or I think it's streaming on Canopy and Hoopla as well. So I recommend this movie highly.
Let me see if there's a place you can find this. Enduring Love.
Type of movie you'll think about for quite some time afterwards too. And it's got like this minimalistic score that kind of keeps you off kilter because it's like off key. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it because I do want to discuss it with my other bald friend. Not to say that I only have 2. But Enduring Love. I just wanted to give people a heads up if you'd like to watch it in between now and the next time we talk about it.
Well, I'm sold.
It's good. It's the type of movie no one talks about, and it's a real easy movie to reference because of all of the big life things that happen in it, and it got me thinking. I was talking to Rand, like that might be a top 5 too, like top 5 inciting incidents, because this is one of those movies, and there are a few movies that are like this out there where like you think the movie is just gonna be like one scene, and then it's gonna move on to something else, and maybe it'll tie into like but the entire movie is kind of based around what happened with those 5 men, and then and it's really good special effects, which are minimal but effective as can be. I like this Enduring Love a lot. It's criminal that no one talks about it, and I had to be paid to watch it. Criminal.
It's criminal that I had to be paid to watch this thing.
It is criminal. All right. So that's a little brief. Also, if you have not seen Weird yet, and Avery, that's you. I don't know if it's just me, but I absolutely love that movie. I continue to laugh about it. And the pool scene in particular is just one of the greatest things I've seen all year long.
I'm saving that for that glorious period of eating leftovers after Thanksgiving, where you just got time, you got a bottle of wine, and then I think I'm going to watch me some Weird. I'm going to do Weird, and then I think I'm going to finally dive into some Elvis. Those feel like very Thanksgiving movies to me.
Elvis is like a fever dream, man. I mean, you can't relax and watch Elvis. It's just like head on a swivel. The amount of switch pans in that movie
It feels like a good one to get drunk in your own home, though, and watch with no stakes.
That's
Just
true.
enjoy the spectacle.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I can definitely say so with Weird. I don't know if Elvis is one that I would want to watch at a full stomach. I'm gonna be honest. Weird is the kind of movie you can watch tonight and then look forward to watching it after Thanksgiving again. It's just
I love it.
hard pass. He passes on a lot of things. That Weird Al.
I'm gonna be hanging out with Macy this weekend. Maybe I'll force her to watch that. We'll see.
Don't talk about Macy as though she's like a household name. No one has any fucking clue who Macy is. Stop
Macy Isaacs, world famous.
She got a little plug there. I like that. All right, so we moving on to TV Vault now.
Yeah, a little TV Vault.
You know, a number of listeners have said you and Avery should branch off and do a TV Vault, and I said I would love to if I had a clone.
TV Vault is strong. TV Vault. So what I will be flickfessing for TV Vault is Andor. Andor. They've got it's 12 episodes total. They have released 10. It'll be the 11th by the time you're hearing this, if you are not on the YouTube or the live feed. And it's just good. It's a prequel to Rogue One, which is a prequel to Star Wars. So we're entering the realm of a prequel inception. And what did you think of Rogue One? What were your feelings on it?
I did not care.
Did not care.
Was concerned about this being the new norm with these one-offs, and I didn't like his character. I didn't like Diego Luna's character much in it. He shot first for sure, and he seemed like I don't know. He wasn't hard enough for me to like him, but he didn't seem clean enough for me to sell him to kids. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah. So I loved Rogue One.
I don't know why I'm selling him to kids, by the way. I'm sorry.
I get what you mean about I think he was in some ways the weakest part of Rogue One. I think Felicity Jones was great. The K2SO was great.
The lazy setups too. Like they got to get to this kill switch in the middle of that little atoll.
I thought it was some of the best Star Wars. I love Mads Mikkelsen. I enjoyed. I thought Krennic is an all-time great Star Wars villain. And I thought it's some of the best Star Wars just space battles that they've done. Where I feel like they nailed
Rogue One. You're talking about.
Yes, it feels like what George Lucas wishes the original trilogy could have looked like if he had that budget and that technology. So I loved it for that. What I like about Andor is it's a prequel to that, and it's far grittier. And this is the first Star Wars property I've seen where Mandalorian gets kind of dark, and it's not an
episode to episode.
Yeah, and it's not entirely for kids. You feel that as you're watching it.
Yeah.
Andor, I don't know how they greenlit this. They don't give a fuck about kids at all. They're not even watching this. They're not even making this with kids in mind. It is probably the grittiest Star Wars thing I've ever seen, where the first episode starts with a double murder and goes from there. And it is brutal. It is gritty. It's a lot of behind the scenes. There's a lot of torture. There's a lot of just brutality, but it's just good. The script just sings. There's a heist to start it off. It's just really just crispy, fast-paced, and the dialogue almost ruins other Star Wars properties for me because it's so well done. It's so snappy, and it's one of those things where, in the best way possible, this could easily have not been Star Wars in terms of what the content is and what they're doing, what the storylines are, because there's no Jedi, there's no Force powers. It's mainly just human stories. Stellan Skarsgård is amazing in it. They just have a great cast of relative unknowns in it, and it just almost changes in like 3-episode arcs where just when you think you figured out what the show's about, they'll totally branch off with the characters in a different direction and write people out of the show or kill them off or have interesting things happen. And it takes a while to track down where it's going. It keeps you guessing. And I think this is one of the best ways they've done the Imperial side of things. So if you like Imperials and them just being snooty and assholes and conniving and plotting and just mean and torturing people, it's great for that. Diego Luna is much grittier in this, so I think he's much less polished like he was in Rogue One. And it's got that Star Wars feel to it, where it feels dirty,
skin, right? It's
still got the skin, which is what's great. It's almost like what is happening in Star Wars, but to the real people, like
Right.
what's happening when there's not Jedi. So it's really almost like the grassroots movement of the rebellion, and it is not afraid to get fucked up and go there and show you what it takes for a rebellion to actually happen. It's not sugarcoated of, oh, it's hope and let's
Right.
all feel good. It's very practical, no nonsense, and people just in hard positions who have to compromise their morals to do what's right. And is that worth it to make a better world? And it's really, really good. So I highly recommend Andor. And I think you'll have a really good sense of whether or not it's for you by watching the first 3 episodes, because they release those all at once in one big chunk. And if you like those 3, that's the feel of the show. That's how it's going to be. So I would say at least give it that shot. Watch those first 3 because that's how they premiered it. But I would highly recommend. I really think it's the best show on television right now besides House of the Dragon. And in some ways, it might even be better than that. Succession, I mean, that's on right now.
Yeah.
Succession takes the cake, but I think stuff that came out this year, I think Andor is honestly number 1 or number 2 for me. It's great.
Well said.
Highly recommend.
I am still probably not going to watch it, but
I think you should give it a shot with those first
tell
3.
me about the creatures. You got some good creatures in there. That's
So
where that's where the Star Wars universe really sings for me, is where you get some of these characters going after creatures, like the sand dragon episode of Mandalorian. I've probably seen that 3 times. I absolutely love it.
I know, and so that's what's interesting is it's entirely devoid of Jedi and almost entirely devoid of creatures, but you don't miss them. And I'm somebody who loves the
Are
creatures.
there like
I love
alien characters,
lightsabers.
or is it just all like humanoids?
It's mainly humans, but
Mm.
it
You know what
sounds
Star
like
Wars
a
has become?
detractor, but
You know what it's become, and it didn't occur to me until like one of the many billboards I saw for Endor. It's become Star Trek, with all the spin-offs and all of the content. It used to, that was the differentiating thing for me, was
yeah.
Star Trek was for more the nerds. And they have so many spin-offs and characters and worlds and fleets, and Star Wars, you can wrap your mind around it. It was just the 3 for the longest time, and then the hideous prequels came out, but it was just, and now since Disney's bought it, it's become like it rivals Star Trek almost. And by the time everything's said and done, it might actually have more than Star Trek.
Yeah, what I think what the biggest sell for this is the first time I've ever seen Star Wars for adults. They don't give a shit that you have a kid. They don't care if your kid wants to watch. This is Star Wars
Well,
for adults.
the Star Wars kids that were kids when it came out, who are adults now, have been clamoring. I get emails from listeners saying, like, isn't there room for them to make an R-rated Star Wars? It sounds like this isn't that.
This is the closest they get, and this is honestly, and for anybody else listening, who was kind of thrown off by Boba Fett was disappointing. Would still recommend because they sneak in an episode of The Mandalorian in there, so you do have to watch that one at least. But I thought Obi-Wan was just terrible, so they kind of lost me because Mandalorian's great, and then they had 2 kind of stinkers in a row, and I was going into it thinking, Andor, are you fucking kidding me? A Rogue One prequel, and they really stick the landing. It feels like Star Wars. It's gritty, it's brutal, and it's really human. And I highly, highly recommend it.
All right. Well, the same guy that paid us to watch Enduring Love has also been in my ear about Andor. So just to bring it back, and then also to bring it back even further, and in watching Black Panther, I got the sense with this one more than I do with most Marvel movies, which is like they let creative people be creative and didn't keep them in the wheelhouse of Marvel. Like I said, it feels like it was less Marvel than most every Marvel movie I've seen, because you see there's so many creative people and very smart people making movies, and then you see them get stuck, whether it's actors or writers and directors, all the creative people that get stuck in these. They have to be down in this lane, in this Marvel lane, and it feels like they're getting away from that a little bit and just letting. You got a giant budget. Here's the story. Here's the characters. What do you have to say with this? And it sounds like Endor is definitely that. They're letting these creators create and come up with stuff, just keeping it with the characters that and making sure they don't drift too far, but they're actually making creative stuff. They're not like stuck to make it true to the comic book or true to Lucas's vision or whatnot.
At all. Like I said, I don't understand how this was greenlit. They make no attempt
when you think about it, though, right? Because they paid $1 billion. They're going to get as much as they can out of it, and they can't just be like, there's only so much there that Lucas created. I know that's blasphemy to some people, but there's only so much you have to expand, and it sounds like they're expanding in the right way with this one anyways. It sounds like they didn't do so with
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
So my point was Boba Fett. I wish this is the tone Boba Fett had. Boba Fett should have been gritty. It should have been brutal. It's Boba Fett. He's a bounty hunter. You want to see him murder
Yeah.
people and betray people and go all out. He's a crime lord, and there was none of that. It was
I was out on
very
Boba Fett when they were selling the actor, and like I saw his face before I
yeah
saw his mask. I'm like, that's not the right direction for me. I want to see
yeah
the iconic masks that I grew up with. I don't want to see an actor portraying him underneath the mask. I don't care.
yeah. It was very just shined up and just it was too pretty, too sparkly. And I think with this, I'm really excited to see where Andor goes. It's already been greenlit for another season. And like I said, the writing is there, and you're seeing Stellan Skarsgård at his best. He just chews up the scenery.
Choose it. All
Oh,
right,
he's good.
final thing I want to bring to your attention, and I have no idea where this might go, but I'm force watching something that began in 2013. I don't have any notes in front of me. I did not have any idea that I'd be talking to anyone about it on a feed. But here goes. I know your love of Vikings, Avery.
Yes.
Have you ever watched Vikings?
My mom is weirdly obsessed with just Vikings in general, and she's one of the only people I know who's watched that. So for me, it's always kind of been it's a mom show. My
I
mom
can't
will watch
picture anyone's
literally
mother
anything.
watching this. I can't picture.
So
Jillian is so turned off by the violence and the brutality of this show that she just has. I'm like, we're doing Vikings. I'm gonna go out and get us some food, and we're gonna like lay in bed and watch some Vikings
yeah,
tonight, honey. And she's like, okay. She's giving it to me because it's like, we're about to go to Iceland where there's, there is some like Viking culture, and
oh
she has
yeah,
no other recommendations. So I've been watching it. She's next to me and she's doing Addie's antique stuff. She's like doing inventory and whatnot. She's not really watching the show. And like any show, it takes you a good 3 to 5 to figure out where they're going. And I can
yeah.
tell you that I am pretty in. This is only season 1. I can only imagine that it gets even better. But so far, Vikings, it's like an 8.5 or something on IMDb. This has a very loyal following that loves this show. I can't believe your mom must be super sweet because
I think
there's all the things you would imagine Vikings do, they're doing in this.
Yeah.
Which just like the Northmen is it's ballsy, and it's a big ask to get an audience to care for the lead when the lead is butchering
a criminal. It's just like a massacre.
There's a scene early on where so the whole story is like they got this one rogue guy who's kind of got a faction of his own Vikings followers, and they have this lord who he's the king, for lack of a better term. He's not really. He's like he's the ruler of that little section of the Viking village, played by Gabriel Byrne, who I'm like, that guy looks so much like Gabriel Byrne, and it's actually him. Like he's just channeling this character so well that he loses himself in the character. And this one like bootleg Brad Pitt character, like, he's the lead, right? He was bugging me because he reminded me of somebody, and I finally figured it out. He's like Brad Pitt. So he's like a Viking 1 minute, and then the next second I'm picturing this actor like getting bottle service at some douchey Hollywood club. But I'm beginning to buy him now a little bit more as I'm like episode 5. So he's ambitious. The Brad Pitt character, he's ambitious. His name's Ragnar, and he wants to go west. And as far as Gabriel Byrne and all the other Vikings in this little Viking community, they think everything's east. They go to plunder. All they do is this. Like, it's so crazy that this entire like a race of people or community of people, like a group of people, this what is it, society, that's just how they made a living, was just they were pirates. Like
they conquered most of Europe for a while.
We're just
all the way
down
to Africa and into Russia, and insane.
really getting deeply into their beliefs, with drinking with the gods, and you're hearing about Thor, and Zeus has been brought up a few times, and obviously Valhalla, and you see how these traditions and these afterlife ideas are instilled in groups of people to get them to do what the leaders want them to do, right? So they feel like if they die in battle, or while pillaging for their ruler, they will go to Valhalla and have like all the glory that there is. So they're very willing to die for this other person's cause. It's very interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of parallels to things that are happening today. However, one of their beliefs apparently is if you if you bury all of your riches and your spoils of war, uh, and then you die, you get to take them with you. So
I love that you can take it with you.
I don't know why, and I think pharaohs might have had a similar thing with all
Yeah.
the they get to take all that shit with them. But I mean, I don't know who would create that idea because it's just going to cause a bunch of like spoils to be buried and lost all over the land. So anyhow, so
It makes you get off your ass. You gotta keep plundering.
Jillian was watching that part. She's like, "There's just treasure all over the world." I'm like, "Probably. There's probably still a lot out there that no one's found." So the bootleg Brad Pitt guy, like he's ambitious and he talks back to Gabriel Byrne, who rules with an iron fist, and all he wants to do is go west. He's like, I think that there's stuff west, and Gabriel Byrne's like, no, that's heresy. Like, no one goes west. There's nothing west, nothing west. And I guess they still think that the land is flat here. It's like it's the 8th century, right? So it's a 746 AD or something is when this takes place. And then he comes up, bootleg Brad Pitt finds like this method to it's a sundial essentially that floats in the water, and you can tell where the sun is, and if it goes outside the circle, that means they're drifting this way. If it stays inside the circle, they're on course. So he also has this kind of stone, and this is all based in actual things and artifacts that they found.
Yeah.
It's not like wizardry and whatnot. And he has a stone where it's overcast as hell a lot of the time, but he has a stone where he can hold it up and he can find the sun, so he can continue to follow the sun certain times of the day. So he gets this group together and goes west in secret with this boat that he has commissioned, and it's great. It's fantastic, and they land upon this monastery of Franciscan monks with their little heads shaved and whatnot. And these are characters that we're getting to know, these Vikings, and I guess we're supposed to like them to an extent because we're going to be spending lots of time with them. And they walk into this, they bust the doors open, and there's all these little Franciscan monks in there, and they're like, they got their little crosses, and they're like, they're not armed or anything. The fucking Vikings just mow them down, just
put them to the sword,
and they kill all of them, or they take a bunch for slaves. And then the lead bootleg Brad Pitt guy, who's the lead guy, he takes his own slave, and that's all he wants as his own spoil, because they take all the spoils back to the Gabriel Byrne, and Gabriel Byrne's like, you weren't supposed to go, and they're like, well, here are all your spoils, and he's like, I'm giving a benevolent leader, I will let each of you Vikings who risk your lives to get this and going west, each person gets to take one thing. And bootleg Brad Pitt takes the slave, so now he's friends with the slave, but we'll see. Oh, he's right.
I'll take the little bald-headed fuck.
He invited the slave to come in and bang him and his wife. He's like, join us. The slave's like, no, I've taken I'm celibate. And he's like, sure. There's some really
into Jesus.
Really good stuff, and I can't help but think of you because I know your love of Vikings, and I think that if you like the Northmen, this is a whole lot more of that.
Oh, I might have to dive in, especially after having gone to Copenhagen, because they've got in their museum. I would definitely, especially if you get a little past, they've got a great Viking exhibit, as you might imagine. And depending on how long you're there, if you take, I think it's like a 40-minute little train ride, you can go up to this town where they've got a Viking museum, and they have 4 Viking ships that they've excavated.
I'm very excited because I told Jillian,
it's cool.
You told me about this. I'm sorry, I cut you off. What'd you say?
Yeah, and they've partially recreated these things, and then they've made they've created this metal scaffolding so you can see how it would have looked, and then they've reconstructed 2 or 3 of these that are actually sailable, that are just floating in the harbor that you can stand on the biggest one.
And they're the ones that they actually found, or they just recreated them?
No, these are the ones they found at the bottom of that
floating
that port. So they
put them back together, and now they're floating out there right now. They're floating.
So they brought 4 or 5 of them up from the bay, and you can see those, and it's the original wood and the hull and all of that, and they've got tiny miniatures next to them. But then they used they got crazy like Danish dudes to authentically use the tools and materials to meticulously reconstruct them. And the ones that they reconstructed are floating outside of the museum, and you can go and walk on them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I had the story wrong. I told Jillian that they found one that was like preserved in ice or something, and they have it like hanging from the rafters or something. I reinvented the story you told me, but I thought it was in Sweden. So I'm very excited to hear this in Copenhagen, because I will absolutely be going, because I want to check this shit out for sure.
Yeah. No, it is in Denmark, so you can take a little 40-minute train up there. And I think they have like some restaurant where they've recreated Viking food that you can have, and it's great.
Viking food,
it's great. Oh, it's great.
would imagine a lot of goats.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey Avery, thank you very, very much for helping us out here and helping me out and the sick bald one. And it was nice. It was nice actually doing a little TV vault with you. A nice change of pace. Hopefully the listeners. I think the worst part is the sound quality that we're relegated to use with the remote. But I
think it should be all right. I think hopefully I'm coming through all right on this on the feed.
Yeah, you sound good. Whoever's on the other end, because I'm recording from my end, so whoever's on the other end is always going to sound a little bit wonky. But hopefully we imparted some knowledge and some wisdom. And
Andor. Check out Andor.
Andor. Yeah. What else? What else we got? I don't know. That was an hour. It flew by.
Yeah, we did it.
That was like an hour and 20 minutes with our 3 blowing takes. I forgot to record the first 2 times.
We didn't make it far. There was a lot of film vault.
Later this week, if you're listening on the regular feed, later this week, we're going to do our annual Black Friday episode where we're going to talk about things that I got an inspired list. I got some really good stuff. So you're going to want to listen to that. I'll be doing that with Logan, the one and only Logan, who's coming back because he's a tech guy now. He's got a really interesting job that he's doing now on the Sony lot. I'm sure he'll talk to me about that. So,
good. I'm glad he got a new job. That's awesome.
Yeah. And make sure you check out our YouTube page. We should have a link. I should make sure that we have all the right links down there. Everyone might have to re-up.
I think I always have YouTube's at the top generally.
Okay, cool. Please give us a what do you call it? A subscription. Subscribe over there so you can see our stuff. We put out stuff every single week, and once we get up to 1,000, apparently that's a very good thing, and I think we're getting close. So do that for us. We'll do more. Thanks to Eric. Thanks to Jordan Wolf, who will be parting ways soon. We'll more on that later, but he's going to be stepping down at his role, but we still have the Mitch Burns for Giovanni, and thank you to Eric and Jordan Montgomery. Look at this. This is all at the top of my head, too. I have so much correspondence with these guys, and they do so much for the show that I just, of course, thanks to Avery. Thank you very much, Avery. And
happy to be here.
Yeah, Avery plugs. Plug your show and plug Macy.
Yeah. You can check out Invade the Decade. I'll do an extended plug here. If you have no idea what we're ever talking about, each episode we travel to a different month in history, and we talk about the Billboard Hot 100, the current events, TV, and the movie. So like we just did August 1975. So we did Dog Day Afternoon, All in the Family, some Elton John, some current events, terrorist incidents, all kinds of fun over there with my co-host Macy and Bryan. And all 3 of us comedians, and we have comics on, and it's fun. We talk shit, and it's a good time.
It's been years since I've seen Dog Day Afternoon, but I saw it a few times when I was much younger. I really, really liked that. My mom actually turned me on to it, but way ahead of its time, especially from the subject matter. Did they misstep, though? Because I have not seen it in recent times. Did they misstep with any of that stuff with the transgender stuff?
No, it's honestly, it's really well done, where with the transgendered stuff, the people making fun of the transgender characters are portrayed as the asshole.
That's awesome. That's great. So that tells me that there were some transgender people that were involved in the creating of that.
Yeah,
at the very
holds up. All of it holds up.
Very cool. All right, thank you everybody, and we do it for Van Gogh. Hey, buddy.
All right, we did it.
On that in a second here, but thank you very much. I'm going to mix this right now, cut it down to size, and send it off to you. Probably. Are you muted? Oh,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
It's not. Every time I do this, I have a whole different setup with different things that go different places. So that's my excuse, and it's a real one.
Well, Restream held together pretty well.
Yeah, I like this Restream. I don't know if I like it for $20 a month, because I don't think we'd really use it. And if you sounded crystal clear, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's do this. Maybe we'll do the show 2-3 times a month this way. But
yeah.
What else is distracting when we're not in the same room is I have to stare at you, and then I see my visual, which is not good because I'm up in my head, and I
wonder if there's a way to, and you can see the listeners on the side too. I wonder if there's a way to. It wouldn't surprise me if you can change it under the settings.
There's no listeners here.
No. I mean the chat that they had on the right side.
Is it going on right now?
No, it was before.
Was it? There was a chat going on.
Yeah,
people were watching.
On the right side. Yeah,
really?
yeah.
I didn't see it. What were they saying?
They are excited for TV Vaults, a little bit of
Cool.
feels. There's no Bryan, already the best episode ever.
Rude.
No window gazing.
Remember, we were talking. This is behind the scenes stuff. We were talking earlier today. Avery and I were, and I was talking about the
Oh, I
the
think they
real
could. I
possibility.
think they could still
Yeah,
hear us.
yeah.
Maybe.
I haven't cut the feed yet. Might as well.
There we go.
Feed. The
Still
people that
alive.
would like to watch this, feel free to hear some behind the scenes stuff. So I was talking to Avery earlier today about a very real possibility of maybe he and I were gonna have to pick up some slack, maybe in December, as far as some of the Flickfessions and whatnot go, because of Bryan is gone. Bryan and I, we're actually both in town for maybe 6 days in December. It's crazy. So I want to see if Avery was game, and he's absolutely game. And then I just assumed that, wrongly, I guess, assumed that Bryan would be like very adamantly opposed. But you should have seen the relief on his face when I'm like, "Hey, buddy, I think Avery and I could do this for today." So the kid's really sick. So hopefully, he's feeling better by the end of the week. But there's a chance that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to do the shows, is what I'm saying. He's going to rebound. He's going to be fine, but I don't know what's going to happen with this show. So
Well,
maybe
we can do some more TV Vault if it's remote.
maybe we could do some more TV Vault later in the week for like the weeks that I'm gone. If you're game, I don't know what your schedule is Thursday or Friday. We'll figure that out. And
I think Friday I might be able to, Friday afternoon, but then I'm heading to Austin to for a comedy show with Macy. So
Thursday afternoon or evening.
Thursday evening doing Invade the Decade that night. Normally I would be free, but
Wednesday I'm supposed to be doing a live watch along of Just Fucking Friends with Bryan, but I don't know what's going to happen there. So what about Wednesday? What about tomorrow night? Would you be able to?
Can't. I got a show, hosting a show.
Worst. What am I going to
I
do?
know. Friday's my day.
I'll figure something out. All right. What else?
Hey, we're due for a return of Carano. There's never too much Carano on the feed.
I can't hear what Corona's been watching on YouTube.
Maybe Tyler will step in. I feel like he's always watching TV or some nonsense.
What else? No, I can't do that. All right, cool. Well, yeah, maybe I'll lean on you. Either way, I'm going to get this up, and I'll have all the other shows up to you in one form or another. I'm sure I'm going to include some Florence stuff that I've already recorded, and yeah. Well, I mean, the show must go on, right?
It'll go on, and like I said, I got a TV Vault on deck if needed.
I don't know when you would be able to record that though. So it seems Friday. What did you say? Friday?
Yeah, I could do Friday. I could probably do Friday night. Friday early afternoon. I could do Friday at like probably 5 if need be.
Yeah, that's right. When I'm at hockey with Atticus,
I could do after. I'll be doing some packing.
All right. We'll figure it out. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, Avery. But I think we should do something like that. Maybe you and I can do an addendum and just do add some TV Vault into episodes here and there. All right.
Well, worst case scenario, I think I could even probably bring my it would not be hard. It'd just bring my laptop and the carry-on and the little microphone. So
no, I mean once he's better. I'm not doing this in Iceland. I've learned my lesson. I'm trying to do shows when you're on the road, and then you try to, and it just never works out. And then like you don't want to because you're like, what the fuck? Sorry, honey, I gotta go in here and do the show. And like so it's just.
But I think if need be, yeah, if we did one like this Sunday, I think I might be able to do it during the day, possibly.
I leave Sunday.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You see them?
Yeah.
I have tomorrow, Thursday, and part of Friday.
Oh, we're slammed.
Saturday, it's just I got the entire day is just booked with the last minute things that I have to do before I leave. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have to pull a Bill Burr and do a solo show.
This might be the most challenging thing that the Film Vault has gone through since Bryan initially got sick all those years ago. But and what I did there was I just brought in the old crew, which I talked about because it was right during award season. I'm like, we got to keep the feed going. It was still a new feed. It was before we went on Corolla. It was what Giovanni was keeping it afloat and
hey, somebody's saying get Greg, get Mr. Surzavasti in here to co-host.
I went through my head silently about 2 minutes ago when we first started talking about your schedule and what you can do. That would infuriate.
Demanding it.
The way I see it though is it's like we've built this little film community, and there's a bunch of shows that have been created because of people's love of the Film Vault, and we're spreading the word and getting more people to spread the word. It's all about spreading the word about movies. So I don't see a problem with having old Gregor on. Maybe I'll just do that. Maybe I'll just do it.
I love it.
Executive decision.
Hey, people demanded it.
for those of you who are still watching, I guess that they're the most forgiving. It looks like there's 3 people watching, but this I did not set up this. This is what the wall that I look at all the time. I didn't set it up to be like my backdrop. So it looks a little douchey now that I'm looking at it, and I wasn't there's Stan. I wasn't trying to do it. Yeah, but it looks like I'm trying too hard, and I'm wearing a Clockwork Orange shirt with Clockwork Orange over my back.
You're way too up in your head about this.
I'm up my head.
I was thinking, ah, shit, I need a better backdrop.
Oh, look at you.
I do have the bar cart though.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go have a drink right now.
It is glorious.
About to do an hour with Logan. I gotta have a sippers. All right, buddy. Thank you very much, Avery, for stepping right in, and it was good. It was a very quick hour.
Yeah, happy to do it. Let me know if you need me later in the week.
All right. I should have all this stuff to you by like 10 o'clock tonight, if that works.
Yep, that should work. Hopefully 10, because I'll start to get sleepy.
I'll do. I'm going to try and do this one right now, like I said, and then I'm supposed to be on the phone with Logan, I think, pretty soon, and then I'll do timestamps and whatnot for you to make it even easier for like where to put the brakes on up.
All right,
buddy. Cool. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody.